Beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and forms. My life is about bringing out that beauty in everything and helping others do the same. Hello everyone, my name is Jewel, the owner, designer, and creator behind Shabby Boutique. If you want to see how I make my creations, the products I use, and how you can create your own home decor from new, thrifted, or found items, then keep watching. The following is a list of products used on this project. DIY's Salvation Solution in Clear, Sweet Pickens Milk Paint in First Crush, IOD's Ephemeral Melange Decor Transfer, Sweet Pickens Top Coat Final Finish in Matte. The first thing I'm going to do is add a coat of Salvation Solution from DIY in Clear. This is a slick and non-porous surface, so I want to make sure that my paint is going here without giving me a ton of chippiness and crackle. If you're not sure how the paint is going to react with the surface that you're painting on, then this is just a precaution. Any primer would probably work, but I do like this one since it is clear. I noticed as I was using the Salvation Solution that it was kind of beating up and not wanting to adhere to the watering can. If this happens, then just keep going over those areas, not adding any more product, just using what you have left on your brush. I probably had some residue left over from the cleaner that I used to clean it with, is probably why it's not adhering. As that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and mix my Sweet Pickens Milk Paint in First Crush. This is a powdered paint made from milk. You mix it a 1-to-1 ratio with water. I always use hot to warm water. If you use hot or warm water, you'll get a smoother finish and not as much lumps. If you want a smooth finish, make sure that you mix it for a full 2 minutes to get all the lumps out. After you mix it, let it set for a few minutes and it'll thicken up. You can mix the paint as thin or thick as you want depending on the finish that you're going for. For the first coat, I usually do a thinner coat. I find that it adheres easier and better if you do your first coat thinner. Also, instead of using a primer as I did, you could just use Sweet Pickens Extra Bond, add that to your mixture, and that will also keep it from chipping and crackling as much. I just happen to have the DIY Salvation Solution on hand, and that's why I used it. I'm using an old hairdryer to help dry the paint faster, but be careful if you don't want chips and cracks. Don't overheat the paint because it will definitely cause that to happen, which is a tip. If you're not getting the crackle and the chippiness that you want, just blast it with a heat gun and you will definitely get it. I'm getting ready to apply a second coat of paint. For this batch, I am mixing the paint 1-to-1 as you're supposed to get the proper thickness of the paint. The great thing about this paint is that you can mix a little bit at a time. Sometimes I have to stop in the middle of projects and can't get back to them for a couple of days, so I like mixing just what I need at the time. Again, I'm using my old hair dryer to dry the paint faster. before my third and final coat of paint. I'm going to seal it with Sweet Pickens top coat in matte. Make sure you shake all of the Sweet Pickens top coats thoroughly. They are all natural products, therefore can sometimes settle. But before I apply the top coat, I just want to do a little touch-up sanding on some places that weren't smooth. Especially since I'm going to be adding a transfer, I want a nice smooth finish. After my top coat dries, I'm going to grab my transfer I picked out from the IOD Ephemeral Melange transfer pack. Sorry I didn't show the pack, I completely forgot to. Once I figure out where I'm going to put it, I start by cutting off any of the excess pieces around the edge. This isn't a flat cylindrical shape, more of a cone shape. So you also want to cut little notches throughout the transfer so that as you're applying it, you won't get any wrinkles or rips. I also cut off a couple of little pieces that weren't laying right to add in later after I get the main part of it adhered down. I use painter's tape to hold it in place so that whenever I put it down, it's in the right spot. Then I'm gonna pull it up, remove the backing paper. Be careful, the back of this is really sticky. So if it touches anything, it will come off the transfer sheet. And then lay it down and start rubbing it into place. I rub it all over first, and then I start in a corner, start lifting it up. If I see that there's any places that aren't adhered, I just lay it back down and rub over those places until they are. That's one of the great things about transfers, is that they're pretty much foolproof. Then I pull it off, and as you can see, whoops, some of the paint comes off. I guess it wasn't dry all the way. Next, I pull the tape off of the carrier sheet, and I use the carrier sheet to burnish the transfer onto the surface. I use the matte side. I know it says to use the gloss side, but to me, the gloss side, it kind of sticks rather than slides. Next, I'm going to go in with those little pieces that I cut off the transfer and add those as well. Those are so tiny, I just use my fingernail to burnish them in. Once I get those in place, then I take the carrier sheet again and burnish everything in again, just to make sure I don't have any bubbles or anything and everything's smoothed down. Next, I'm going to add another layer of 2 of the Sweet Pickens matte top coat. If you find that you have areas of the paint that's lifting up and you don't want it to chip off, just take a little bit of the top coat and slide it underneath the paint and then use your finger to kind of push it back down into place. It will just act as a glue and adhere the paint back down to the surface. And here's a look at the finished project. Well, that was it for this project. I think it turned out adorable, so fun and so spring. And of course, I love me some roses. Let me know what you think of this project, and if you have any questions or something in particular you would like to see me make, or a product in particular you would like to see me use, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until we meet again, have a most serendipitous day. Hugs to all. Love, Jewel.